The House chamber has stood the test of time. The place where representatives meet to collectively debate and vote on bills.
Representative Kriesel, to your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Has continuously been updated to keep up with technology advancements while remaining true to its historical integrity.
Second reading House File 1361.
Second reading.
And second reading House File 1411.
The person responsible for the original design of the House chamber and Capitol was Cass Gilbert. Gilbert, an influential St. Paul architect, won a design competition to become the Capitol's architect. He was just 35 years old when he won. The Board of Capitol Commissioners, a governmental body created in 1893 to oversee the construction of a new state capitol, organized the design competition. Although Gilbert turned out to be an excellent choice due to his meticulous attention to the construction of the building and the decoration of the interior, as well as his political savvy, the Capitol and its splendor might not have been finished without the work of the Board of Capitol Commissioners. The board had the power to solicit bids, enter into contracts, issue bonds, hire employees, and pay expenditures. Members performed these functions through 6 legislative sessions, 5 different governors, and hundreds of contractors, all without receiving a dime for their efforts. The noble group of civic leaders was skillfully led by the tough-minded St. Paul businessman Channing Seabury. Seabury made sure the Capitol was constructed correctly and efficiently. He was also vital in acquiring from the legislature more than double the amount of Capitol construction funding that was originally estimated necessary. His monumental role and that of the board has often been overlooked and overshadowed by Cass Gilbert. Inside the House chamber looks at another formerly hidden treasure, the chamber clock, and its historical value. The timepiece that ticks in the chamber is the original clock of the House chamber, but there was a time when this historical artifact wasn't seen in its place of honor.
We had a J.C. Penney clock over here and over there, and thought those are just so awful. But they kept good time.
To have the old Pendulum House clock replaced was a misfortune, especially when the original clock had become a part of the House chamber history. In 1943, the legislature was locked in a battle over property and income taxes. The battle extended over the constitutionally mandated adjournment of April 21st. To avoid the deadline and artificially extend its time, the Senate stopped its floor clock and the House covered its clock with canvas. The 2 legislative bodies then continued to work for another 48 hours. The practice of covering the clock in the House chamber and borrowing the time was stopped. In 1961, Governor Elmer Anderson and Secretary of State Joe Donovan refused to accept bills that were passed when the clock was covered. Fortunately, the clock that was such a part of the history of the House wouldn't stay lost forever. In 1989 to 1990, the House chamber was renovated to bring it back to its original glory.
What happened in 1989 and 1990 is they did a complete restoration of the space. So the colors you see, the carpet color, everything you see today is what Cass Gilbert had envisioned for this space.
During the restoration, one of the architects was cleaning the balcony closets.
They were cleaning out stuff, and lo and behold, up there, they found this package wrapped in old newspapers, and it was the clock.
The architect found the clock wrapped in newspapers from the 1920s.
This was an original to the House chamber, and we were trying to restore or recreate as much of the original 1905 chamber as we could.
Once found, the clock was given special treatment before being returned to the House chamber. Since the timepiece never kept good time and required someone to climb a ladder to set it every day,
we had the insides redone, and so you didn't have to go up every day and set it, kind of thing. And It's automatic now, and it's where it belongs.
Along with the updated mechanics of the clock, the shafts to fit the holes of the old hands were remade, the hands were re-gold-leafed, the marble face was washed, and the brass support blocks were polished. Like the clock, the Board of Capitol Commissioners, and in particular Channing Seabury's efforts at the Capitol, haven't always been seen. While much has been published on Gilbert and his artistic vision for the Capitol, little is known by many in the public about Seabury's part in securing funding for the Capitol and overseeing its completion. But without it, the Minnesota State Capitol, an ambitious undertaking for the state, may not have come into fruition. In 1905, the majestic Capitol was finished for $4.5 million. Kenyon Cox wrote in regards to the cost of the Capitol that every dollar has been honestly spent, is credible to the people and the politicians of the state, that the value has been received not only in honest building and good material, but in beauty and taste, and art is their good fortune. One owes a great deal of credit to Channing Seabury. Even Cass Gilbert acknowledged his great work. And as the clock filled with history has been found, hopefully more people will discover Seabury's valuable place in history and how he helped steer the Capitol ship to completion.